Send me the death diary, get that out. The Soviets have 6 new leaders.
Hello comrades, and welcome back to another death diary for No Step Back. After Comrade Mano the Zombie, as chairman of the People's Committee for Focused Reproduction, introduced you to the historical and shared branches of the Soviet tree last week, today we'll be talking about the opposition against Stalin. The opposition to Stalin during the 30s was diverse and divided. Thus, I guess it is fitting that the work on the previous paths for the Soviet Union has been divided between several CDs, unlike normally, when one tree is designed by one CD. The right opposition, this is Lenin. Their main opponent back in the early 20s was Trotsky, leading what came to be known as the left opposition. On the other side of the spectrum was the right opposition, fronted by Bukharin. Stalin, forming his own faction, aptly called the center, and using his positions as party secretary to his advantage, played the others against each other, gradually gaining total control of the Communist Party. While all this was happening, the surviving leaders and generals of what had been the disunited white movement were plotting in Manchuria. So here we have the first focus on the left, and it is clear that the Soviet Union has deviated from its promised path. Now, there's even talk of building socialism in one country, abandoning the workers of the world. As you can see from the tooltip, if you go down this path, you will end up in a civil war. There was simply no way Stalin will just hand over power to Trotsky or his allies. You have a few things you can do to make this easier for you once the war starts and to prepare for what comes after. You can send trusted advisors aboard in order to keep them safe from Stalin. Relatively safe anyway. Stay clear of ice picks. I get that meme. Hashtag ice pickle. Additionally, you can convince a few notable military officers to side with you. That will strengthen the ties with the military, making your side stronger in the upcoming civil war. As can be seen from the screenshot above, you can point your fingers at the right opposition and hope that Stalin's paranoia will hit them rather than your people. When you feel ready, you completely ignite the flames focus to start the war. Unless, of course, Stalin's paranoia has forced your hand already. If you want to oppose Stalin, but don't feel Trotsky is your guy, you can always go to Bukharin and the right opposition. In order to confuse everyone, this time we have the right to the right of the left. Bukharin was one of Stalin's first allies, and he used him to thwart Kamenev's plans. Later, he got brushed to the side and accused of plotting against Stalin. When the game starts, he's out of favor, out of power, but not entirely out of options. Just like the left opposition, you can try your luck at removing Stalin by starting a civil war. It should be noted, though, that the right opposition will have much lower support within the military than the left opposition. It is, after all, Trotsky's Red Army. So if push comes to shove, you might have to get some help from abroad. Concessions to foreign powers unlocks decisions to get aid from foreign powers. For example, you can offer Vladivostok to the Japanese, making them more inclined to support when the war starts. What? Fuck Bukharin. Other options include trading future resources, rights, and return of military factories. If you're lucky, some nations might even send a general or two to help you. I can be an anime Russian communist? As I mentioned, there's a reason the left and the right are together in the focus tree, and that is of course because, as I said before, alliances shifted all the time, and if you want, you can actually join forces against Stalin and ally with Zinoviev and Kamenev if you want to do that. By choosing the cooperative option, you get access to more advisors and get a higher level of popular support, but also you get penalties due to the many differences of opinion in the party. Of course, you don't have to do this. If you'd rather work alone, you can always use the other side as scapegoats. Another very important part in this part of the focus tree are the focus intended to help to prepare for the actual war. You can start infiltrating the military to gain control of larger part of the Red Army's Navy and Air Force. Similarly, you can infiltrate the NKVD. This can be extra useful if you're planning on having the right opposition replace Stalin. The Civil War mechanics. The mechanics are very similar to the Spanish Civil War mechanics. Oh god. Although slightly simplified, as the sheer number of Soviet states will make it overwhelming. Hey, don't do that offensive shit. Don't make me fucking prepare offensives, man. That is the worst shit ever. The first thing you have to do is decide from where you want to start the uprising. Depending on which branch you have selected, you will be presented with slightly different options. This is roughly what it will look like for the left opposition. This is very interesting for me because I think achievements will happen here. There's gonna be achievements like as White Russia, the Eastern guys rise up as Mongolia and unite Russia or something. Once you have established a base, which will then be your base during the Civil War, you can start infiltrating neighboring states, as long as Stalin hasn't made a crackdown there first. In general, it's a good idea to keep the supply situation blah blah blah. So it's like in the Spanish Civil War. Both players, aka you and Stalin, are going to click on buttons and you're going to take over state or he pushes you out. After a while, the war starts and the states you infiltrated will be yours in the Civil War. Note that you cannot infiltrate Central Russian states nor Leningrad. Stalin and and his cronies have a too tight grip over there. The military support focus unlocks a number of decisions that can be taken, infiltrating admirals, generals, army, navy. However, as with almost anything, dude, after 4 years of streaming, I completely forgot my ability to read. When I read more than 10 minutes, my ADHD fully comes in. I cannot pay attention for a long time reading. Additionally, he will use whatever means at his disposal to ensure the loyalty of generals and admirals. So if you dally too long, you might lose a few key ones. If you take too long, he gets certain generals. But perhaps most importantly, Stalin will continue with his own focus tree. And as those of you who read last week's diary remember, it has effects on the opposition. For example, the first Moscow trial will happen, and his paranoia gets increased. The longer you wait with kicking off the war, the more people Stalin will have time to purge. So it's basically a balancing act. Some purges can be avoided, but it will cost you. Get ready and fight the Soviets. Later, you will play ISP, and all the best there, killing Stalin. If you go down the right opposition path, you can actually try to remove Stalin in a different way. If you manage to convert the current NKVD chief to your cause, you can attempt to assassinate Stalin instead, and then stage a coup claiming power in the chaos. That's good. But beware, if the attempt fails, Stalin's paranoia will increase greatly, and that might lead to him launching a full-scale war against you after the Civil War. So you fight the Civil War, defeat Stalin, then what? If you do it as one of the two communist branches, you can still do basic. I'm actually kind of excited in the fascist and democratic branch. You have the permanent revolution sub-branch that helps you spread the world revolution. If you go for the builder of the Red Army focus on your builder with Trotsky at the helm, you can also have Trotsky assuming command of the field forces. He becomes a field marshal. That's pretty good, man. And how far will you decentralize? Either you can go for a fully decentralized state, including giving greater autonomy to republics, in effect releasing them as puppets. Who the fuck releases puppets? Or you'll work towards giving the Supreme Soviet increased power, basically removing the need for a figurehead. Oh, you can make a Soviet. Oh, that's cool, man. If you're going down the right opposition path, you will have a similar amount of things to do. You can do back to NAP sub-branch. It contains a bunch of stuff. You can also do stuff and stuff and stuff. There's a lot of different leaders. Oh, God. So this is the entire communist focus tree. Very sick, man. I am excited, though. What's on the right? I am very excited what's on the right, man. Bring the Tsar back, man. That's what I always look for. What is this? It's the Russo-Mongol Empire. I smell achievement. You smell that? You smell that? They want you to do some random fucking country, Mongolia, and then the achievement is Genghis Khan. As Mongolia, win the Russian Civil War and take Paris or some shit. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. Gentlemen, let's get into the new death diary. All hail the true Tsar of Russia and beers alike. What do you mean? They picked Vladimir instead. So this is gonna be the kingdom tree? Wait, what? Oh, I'm excited for that. I want to actually make the Tsar. Comet Bratin. You have been found guilty of counter-World War II activity. You have been seen consulting with citizen and even figurehead ideologues of the Imperator team. Oh, this guy is a Rome Imperator guy and he's making a death diary. Good for him. Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to the third, yes you read that right, death diary for the Soviet Union focus tray. And yes, in the words of a famous hero who fought valiantly and sacrificed himself for the defense of Earth some 25 years ago. Hello boys, I'm back! I don't get that meme. What does that mean?
Hello boys! I'm back!
I'm here today to destroy the project by dealing catastrophic damage the super weapon that is this very next DLC that we're unleashing upon a collection of RVs near a remote and officially non-existent military base in Nevada. Dude, this guy's a joker, man.
Shitposting is the act of posting large amounts of content of aggressively, ironically, and trollishly poor quality to an online forum or social network.
Oh, Independence Day! When the fucking guy flies in the ship! Oh, Dicker. Who the fuck gets your jokes, man? Breton. The biggest joke you ever pulled was Emperor Rome, though. The collection of CDs that have contributed to these branches have almost been as numerous and varied as the groups comprising the white movement that inspired them. Laughs nervously glancing at his room locked door. Did this guy make stuff like this? I knew women in real life that showed me pictures on their phone where they have a match on Tinder and it's like, hi, how are you? And the girl's like, hi. And then they do giggles nervously, tips fedora, kidnaps you into his basement. While I initially was giving some background features to Toil Aware, and I eventually was drafted into this group of laborers. Glances at the silhouettes of guards visible through the window in the door, sweating this time and continuing in an excessively loud voice. Boys, I don't think that Breton is subscribed. Let me just say that. Sweats profusely. What the fuck? Okay, let's just get into it. The Exiles. In 1936, the so-called White Movement was shambles. Despite extensive international support, the Bolsheviks had eventually defeated the loose and diverse anti-communist coalition. Much of the remnants of the Whites fled the country rather than be purged. Many of these fled to Manchuria, which in the early 1930s was invaded and occupied by the Japanese. In the years afterwards, these exiles in Manchuria were supported by the Japanese to cause problems for the Soviets across the border, including such intrepid endeavors as erecting a giant neon swastika 3 kilometers from the Soviet-Manchurian border. If any Soviet uprising was to take place, it will therefore likely be in the old white-controlled areas of the Far East and Siberia. If I have to play another Trans-War campaign, I'm fucking done. Article 124, Unification of the Exiles, Women Fascist Movement, the True Tsar. So this is the Tsar tree. Looks pretty big, man. Nice. The Third Rome. Empire in the Pacific. That looks cool, man. A lot to do here. Nice. If so, the only way to affect such drastic change by the mid-1930s is through civil war. I'm so scared I have to play Trans-War again. I'm legit fucking having issues here. Why is every HOI4 game so fucking weird, man? How can I not have a normal game? For once! But let's look at the pre-Civil War part of the tree. Fascist movement embraced the Black Hundreds, the Black Army from the Trans-War game. This part of the branch all revolves around various ways in which to prepare for the Civil War. Obtaining equipment, units, factories, national spirits, decisions, and even advisors for when the Civil War kicks off. As stated, it will not be easy and the Soviets enjoy tremendous military-industrial advantage over you. You will have to make intelligent use of resources and subversive activities to level the playing field even slightly and make an unlikely victory happens. Luckily, the possibility of foreign aid exists, though even this may not be enough. The final ace in the hole is swallowing your pride and making the Japanese an offer they cannot resist. The elimination of a rival power to the northwest, major territorial gains on the Pacific coast, and even the installation of a subject regime in the power vacuum their rival collapse will create. The price is high. You can call it the Japanese, but it's very bad. Once the Civil War has been won, you can bring back the Tsar, and then you get a cool focus tree. Really cool, man. Then you integrate Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, and you can even call the Third Rome. What? The map could look like this. Shout out to their work. I just have ADHD. You can make a Civil War and bring the Tsar back. I get it. I've seen it for 2 years in Kaiserreich now. Fuck all this. Shout out to all the devs. I mean, nothing personal here. Nothing offensive. I just want to play, man. I just want to play. I want to play.